This is NewsBreak26 in Southwest New Brunswick. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Here's what's happening in our part of the world. As nationwide lockdowns come into effect to protect Canadians from COVID-19, the coronavirus, many Charlotte County residents are concerned this will compromise our close relationship with our American neighbors to the south. The St. Stephen Fire Department shares its firefighting resources with Calismane's Fire Department, for example. And without access to a year-round ferry, Campobello Islanders get most of their day-to-day necessities from across the bridge and border in Lubec. I spoke with Premier BLAINE HIGGS about this issue in a press conference on Monday.
The Prime Minister, reassured us and has had numerous discussions with the President himself. The Deputy Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, has assured us that she's working very closely with the U.S. authorities so that we don't see that restriction between Canada and the U.S. And that so Campobello Island residents can rest assured that they will be allowed to move freely as they have been over the many, many years.
Based on the reports issued by Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Jennifer Russell, the public will be restricted from entrance to the St. Andrews Town Council meeting at the W.C. O'Neill Arena on Wednesday, March 18th at 6 p.m. To ensure public viewing and participation, CHCO-TV will be live broadcasting as well as live streaming the meeting on our Charlotte County Television YouTube page. The public will be able to ask questions via Twitter and on the Town of St. Andrews Facebook page, or by emailing Town Clerk Paul Nopper at pnopper@townofstandrews.ca.
It is an open meeting to the public, but people can now stay at home in a safe environment and watch the Town Council meeting to be informed.
Finally, Elizabeth Eldridge of St. George just days ago spearheaded the Goodwill Community Group, Charlotte County Community Helping Group, and already it has over 2,000 members on Facebook. Eldridge is currently working with organizations like the local food banks and the Atlantic Superstore and coordinating with local volunteers all over the county to identify people in immediate need during this difficult time and safely get them the necessities they require. I sat down with Eldridge to hear more about her Goodwill initiative for the latest episode of Southwest Magazine, airing all this week on CHCO.
The coordinators of the breakfast programs at schools have been really just going above and beyond to make sure, even with the decision to close schools happening pretty quickly, they all put things in place the very best that they could to make sure that kids that they know were getting breakfast through that program would get some kind of follow-up. So for example, through Blacks Harbor School, the person who coordinates that program, through some funding efforts and then collecting donations that we tried to help facilitate a little bit of that too. She was accepting donations that people would just drop off, so there was no physical contact. She was sanitizing, it was packaged food, so she was sanitizing them, putting them in boxes, and then doing doorstep drop-offs to the kids who normally would partake in the breakfast programs.
While Eldridge will be the first to insist that Charlotte County residents look to our federal, provincial, and municipal leaders for guidance and information during this difficult time, Premier BLAINE HIGGS will be the first to point out what makes New Brunswickers who we are is our neighborly instinct to look out for each other, even when we need to keep a physical distance.
I've heard many stories of people reaching out to their senior neighbors and offering to bring them groceries, medication, and other essential items, and even offering to put gas in their vehicles. We are seeing examples of people offering these services to strangers through neighborhood social media groups. Then there are people like Moncton Magic head coach Joseph Salerno, who has personally offered to help families who rely on school breakfasts or lunch programs. We can always rely on New Brunswickers to be resilient during a crisis.
That's all the news I have for you. Follow us on Facebook at CHCO-TV and subscribe to Charlotte County Television on YouTube for updates and live streams of regular government announcements regarding COVID-19.
A news and public affairs production of CHCO-TV, New Brunswick's only source for independent community television.